Miss Bailey.
Yes, ma'am.
You state you've brought your ex-husband, Mr. Green, to court to prove he is the biological father of your 9-month-old son, Lawrence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Though you freely admit to sleeping with multiple men during the time of conception, you say you believe the defendant is your child's father because you kept an ovulation calendar and you've narrowed it down to him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Green, you say you've always had unprotected sex with Ms. Bailey, and yet she never got pregnant.
That's true, Your Honor.
Now, all of a sudden, she claims you somehow fathered her child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You argue you are 100% certain you are not her child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Green, what makes you so certain this is not your child?
Well, we went on a 4-month drought. And the first time I had seen her in 4 months, she already had a little pudge, a little pouch, like she already looked pregnant.
Your Honor, I always had a stomach. Obviously, I still have a stomach, and I'm not pregnant now.
All right, so let's state as fact that you're beautiful just the way you are.
Thank you.
And Mr. Green, I'd like to hear you please explain to this court, why are you so sure?
She also admitted that she had been with somebody in February, right before she had sex
Yes,
with
Your
me
Honor,
also.
I was supposed to have been in a relationship, which he left me, which he did the same thing, and it was like 2-3 weeks before me and Mr. Green even slept back together. I had a cycle and everything.
All right, so I want to understand this. Somebody got to take me back.
All right.
You all were married.
Very
6 months.
fast, very fast. Shouldn't have been married.
6 months.
You were married for 6 months.
No, we wasn't, Your Honor. We was together about 7 months. We dated for 6 months. We got married. We were together
dated
for
for
3
6
months.
months.
And she went missing for a whole year. I tried to get a divorce. I tried to get
When did you?
Look,
when
I
did I
tried
go
to get a
missing?
divorce.
I have
I tried
never
to get a
went
divorce.
missing. We
and the
stayed in
lawyer-
contact to this day.
No.
We had sex to this
No.
day.
No.
We're still having
That
sex.
is-
Our last time having sex was in April.
In April.
We still, to this day, even if I wanted him, I can get him. So
Listen,
therefore,
no,
I never
look,
went
there is
missing.
no getting me. Look,
I
Your
never
Honor.
went missing a year afterwards.
No. You're not gonna sit in this
Period.
courtroom and
He
just
knew
talk
where I
talk
was.
like
He
that. Look.
always knew
All
I
right,
was.
let's get some order because I want to understand your story. So I'm trying to understand this relationship, how it got to the point that you were sleeping together, but you were also admittedly sleeping with other people during the time. So much so that you don't know who the father of your child is. Those are the facts I need. The rest of this
Yes, Your Honor.
is irrelevant to me.
It can't be mine. Like, she moved to Alabama. Like, sex can't go on from Georgia to Alabama. And she, like I said, like, she already had admitted to me to 2 guys prior. Like, in February,
Your Honor,
you already
you came
had
to
sex with
visit
2
me
other
in
guys.
Alabama when
and
I
then
was
you add
7
me-
months pregnant,
You were
and we
7
had
months
sex.
pregnant. I can't make you pregnant when you already pregnant. That's over with.
Pregnant.
That's
I was
over with.
already pregnant. I was pregnant in February. I was pregnant in February. We slept
Exactly.
together February, March, and May.
But Miss Bailey, respectfully, you slept with him and 2 other men. So do you blame him for not being sure? Or
No, Your Honor, I don't
did you
blame him.
know
I
at
don't
that
blame him at
time,
all.
Mr. Green, that she had slept with 2 other men as well?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. I did. She tells, I mean, like, she tells me stuff that think is gonna make me mad. I just let it go over my head, get what I want, and move on to the next.
Okay. So in your statement to the court, you said throughout your relationship and your marriage, you were having unprotected sex with Ms. Bailey, and yet she never got pregnant.
Never got pregnant.
So that fuels your doubts.
It really does, because, and we used to lay in the bed and we used to try to find reasons why she couldn't get pregnant. After a while, you know, we talked on the phone several times. She was trying to get me to, you know, buy into the fact that this was my child. So she sent me a picture. He had red hair. He's like almost white. He's like,
And he still
man,
do.
Come
And
on.
he still do.
Hey, look. I did some
beautiful little
research.
boy.
I did some
Thank you.
research.
Let me see your research. I'm glad we finally getting to some evidence.
Thank
in
you,
here.
thank you. And what you're about to read is about to state that, you know, unless the child is albino between 2 African-American people, there's no way that child should come out that light with red hair.
Why?
There's
Why?
no way.
Do you know your whole family history? Do you
Your
know if
Honor,
any red
her
hairs are
hair is
in my
red
family?
because she bought it. His hair is red because somebody else gave it to him.
2 different color reds. 2 different colors.
So this is your evidence that pertains to the fact you don't believe that you or her together could produce a child with red hair. In red, are the dates of your cycle. And then in pink, on the 25th is the day this particular app says you would have ovulated.
Yes.
So now going forward, these are the dates that you were having sex with the various men you had sex with. On the 4th, which is outlined in blue, you had sex with potential father number 1 without protection. Then the week of your cycle is the next week. The following week, you have sex on the 18th and the 19th with potential father number 2. Then we get to the week where the ovulation date is outlined in pink, that's the 25th, and you just so happen to have sex with Mr. Green on that date.
Correct.
And the date before.
Correct.
No protection used.
None whatsoever.
So based upon this app and the calculations you've done here and the app does for you, it looks to you like Mr. Green would be the father of your child.
Exactly, Your Honor.
Couldn't be, it was too crowded in there. My sperm couldn't do nothing. I could be his father because we use unprotected sex, but you just can't put it on me after you know and I know what you do. But you know, I'm real good to my kids. You know, I just lost my daughter, Jasmine Green. She died in a daycare van in 2011. That was
so
actually
sorry.
our demise. That was at the point where our marriage just, I packed up.
He ended up
and
leaving and
I
going
left.
back to his ex.
I became,
While we were still married.
became in protective mode. I needed to protect everything else that did belong to me. So honestly,
And I
Your Honor,
figured that's
if
why you
this-
have a wife, right,
if
Your
Lawrence
Honor?
belongs to me, he will be in that circle also. But I can't give her respect for just calling me whenever she comes from Alabama and say, if you want to see Lawrence, bring diapers and wipes.
Your Honor, that's not true because I don't need anything from you. He has diapers and wipes that I provide for him. Okay.
Oh, so I didn't
if
never
he
see.
need
So I never
anything,
bought diapers and wipes for that boy.
All right, but let's be clear, just so you understand. Your legal right to see a child that is your child is separate and independent of the obligation to provide. So the mother of the child, or if it's the father of the child that has custody, can't just say to you, you can't see him unless you bring him something. That's not the law. So that's not the case. Are any of the other men helping you with the child? Do they think that Lawrence could potentially be their son as well, and
No,
they're
Your Honor.
stepping up the plate to do something?
No, Your Honor.
None of them.
No.
So you stand in open court and you say, despite everything he's done to you, you still love him and you still have love for him.
Yeah.
Do you want him back? Do you want a relationship with him?
Almost cuss, Your Honor. No, I do not. I don't want him back. And no, I don't want a relationship. I just want him and Lawrence to have a relationship.
In the case of Bailey versus Green pertaining to 9-month-old Lawrence Bailey, Mr. Green, you are Lawrence's father. In the infamous words of Mr. Green, it is what it is. And like we used to say in Detroit, so what's it gonna be? Meaning, are you gonna step up to the plate and be a father to your son?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do the right thing?
Yeah, she know I will.
Now, this court does have resources for you. We're going to offer those resources so you can maybe start sorting through and figure out how to set up those boundaries, how to engage in respectful dialogue, and figure out how to do this together. Are we clear?
Yes,
I believe you can do it, and he's worth it. Mr. Jennings, after raising your daughter Taylor for 26 years, from diapers to adulthood, and never doubting paternity of your little girl, you are furious that you had to drag your ex-wife to court because she is now claiming you are not her daughter's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lynn, you admit your ex-husband believed he's Taylor's father, but claim your daughter deserves the truth, and the fact is her daddy is not her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Jennings, what do you believe is the real reason Ms. Lynn is now saying you aren't the father?
Just out of spite, jealousy.
Spite? Are you spiteful, Ms. Lynn?
No. First and foremost, if I was spiteful, I wouldn't be standing here right now because my daughter asked me to be here. And
So
as far as
why?
her being
Why
13,
why
I didn't
now?
tell her. His wife told her.
What happened?
She come to me and asked me if he was her dad because she said her stepmother told her that he was not.
Did your stepmother tell you that, Taylor?
I don't think so, no.
So that's not true?
What I remember is they were arguing, and I remember her husband was driving. I remember the exact song, and she'd said that he's not my dad. That is what I remember.
How old were you then?
12, 13.
And Mr. Jennings, you say this is out of spite. When did you come to hear you were not Taylor's biological father?
I've heard it over the years, and all Taylor talks to me. I've been there for her all her life, that I'd do a DNA test at any time for her.
And you have no doubts all of these years, you say 26 years, this has been your baby girl. You've changed diapers, you've done whatever a father should do, and you love her. You've never had a doubt.
I've never had a doubt.
You and Mr. Jennings were married at one time.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship.
We wanted to be together. We wanted to get married. All right, I was very young. My parents did not want us together at all. It was strictly forbidden. I ran away from home to be with him. And the only way we could be together and get married without my parents' signature was I had to be pregnant by Georgia law.
So you all, as teenagers, concocted a scheme to be able to get married?
In order for us to get married at my age without my parents' signature, I had to be pregnant.
So you tried to get pregnant on purpose by
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am,
Jennings?
I did.
Because you wanted to marry him that
Yes,
bad?
ma'am, I did. And I don't regret it, and I do it again because my daughter came from that. And that's the best thing that ever happened to me.
And so if you say you don't regret it and that's the best thing that ever happened to you, your daughter came of it, why do you question he's your daughter's father?
He wasn't the only one I was sleeping with in order for me to get pregnant, to be with him. And he knew this then.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You all developed a scheme as teenagers to get pregnant so that you can get married, but you slept with more than one guy
Yes,
so
I
to
did.
make sure you got pregnant?
Yes, I did. I wanted to marry him that badly.
So you've presented to the court a marriage certificate, certifies that George Howard Jennings and Brandy Lynn Taylor were united on the 21st day of June, 1990. But you said in order to get married, you had to prove you were pregnant. Do you have anything proving
Yes,
when
ma'am, I do.
All right. And so this is a letter from the health department, and it's to certify that Brandy Taylor was given a pregnancy test on June 13th, 1990, and the results were positive. So,
If I ain't the father, then the other two, they ain't neither. It's gonna be somebody else. I mean,
because
that's
your
simple.
testimony is that during the time Taylor was conceived, you know you were with Ms. Lynn.
yes.
And you know that you were not in Georgia, you were in Alabama.
In Alabama.
That is your belief. But Ms. Lynn, you testify that these dates are wrong.
Right, we were in Georgia when I conceived her, not Alabama.
How long did you stay married, first of all?
6 years, 2 months.
6 years, 2 months. All right. And for those entire 6 years and 2 months, she believed Mr. Jennings was her biological father.
Yes.
Mr. Jennings, did you believe she was your biological
Yeah.
child? Ms. Lynn, did you ever tell Mr. Jennings that you had also slept with other men, or did you just keep
Yes,
that?
ma'am, and he was well aware, because when Taylor was about a month and a half, 2 months old, one of the potential fathers,
Okay.
we sat down with him and discussed having a DNA test done then, but it was never done. So he can't say he did not know.
Do you remember that conversation, Mr. Jennings?
Yes, but as far as knowing she was trying to get pregnant with other people and all, I know nothing about that.
And so at 13, you heard the words come out of your mother's mouth that Mr. Jennings was not your biological father.
Yes.
What were you thinking? What was your thought?
Like I felt my whole life was a lie. Like my whole life was like over, you know.
Did you say something?
To my dad and my stepmom, because that's where I was dropped off at. So of course they comforted me. My aunt was like, I was around when your mom got pregnant, so he is your dad, my aunt. And so it's like they like comfort me to think, but I'm like, my whole life's over, because if a man finds out he might not be the dad, most time he's not gonna stay, you know.
Oh, and at 13 years old, you said to yourself, oh, I'm gonna lose my dad, he's not gonna stay because he's not my biological father.
Yeah, like I was gonna, like my whole life was like over, a lie, you know?
In the case of Jennings versus Lynn, when it comes to 26-year-old Taylor Martini, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Jennings, you are not the father. I'm very sorry, Taylor. I know this was not the news you wanted.
Taylor, just remember this, baby. It takes more than having a baby to be a parent. He's always been your daddy. He's always gonna be your daddy.
Yeah, but if it was right in the first way, we wouldn't even be here. Well, you know?
Yeah, that's right, baby.
Why would you purposely do something that could ruin a life, you know? And it might be like, yeah, I'm your kid, but I'm not his kid now. So it's like it doesn't affect just you. It's like you did something selfish, so now I have to suffer the consequences. My whole life that I thought I knew is a lie because of selfishness.